Disclaimer. This video's information is being provided for informational, educational, and general interest purposes only. The information in this video is not intended to shock, enrage, or otherwise provoke the viewer. The sole purpose of this video was to raise awareness of true crime-related events. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The sheriff tells us it took 18 months to get the autopsy results because of a backlog at the state crime lab. The little girl's mom says she's been fighting to keep her memory alive. Jeriah Smith told us Monday that she was happy to hear about murder charges prosecutors brought against the father of her youngest daughter and his wife. This a year and a half after the toddler died. A Claiborne County grand jury indicted Morris Bevily IV and his wife, T'Kia Bevily, on capital murder charges in connection with the 2017 death of little Jeriah Smith. And the sheriff tells us the couple will face a bond hearing later this week. A judge will decide whether they will get a bond and how high it will be. An attorney for the couple say they plan to plead not guilty to the charges.
Today date is October 22nd, 2017. Time is 7:29 a.m. The Claiborne County Sheriff Department present at this time. State your name.
T'Kia Bevily.
Spell it for the camera.
T'Kia Bevily.
Home life.
24.
Give me your current home address.
7032 Highway 61 South, Fort Gibson, Mississippi 39150.
Give me your current phone number.
601-408-1834.
You have a house phone to cell phone.
She said,
Alright. Where you employed at?
Claiborne County Public School District.
What do you do there?
School nurse.
I'm asking about an incident involving Jeriah. Did how you spell it? I mean, that's how you pronounce the name, right? Jeriah Smith. He was 14 months old. Well, she was found deceased at your house this morning. In your own words, tell me what happened.
We got home from, we were at the hospital in Vicksburg.
You and who?
Me, Aubrey, Jeriah, and Morris.
Okay. Who y'all people?
His mom is in stage COPDs, and they told her yesterday was her last day. Or they didn't think she would make it past yesterday, so we went up there to let the girl spend the day with her.
Okay, go ahead.
And so we left there about 9 o'clock, went to a wing spot in Fort Gibson to pick up Morris's food, came to Fort Gibson, stopped at Pizza Hut to pick up my food, and made it home by 10, a little after 10. Both of the girls were asleep already in the car, so we just took them in the house and put Aubrey in her bassinet. Morris changed Rye's diaper, and then he put her in her crib the same way we do every night. On her stomach with a pillow. She has a bed sheet on the bed and a regular sheet.
So she sleeps in a
crib.
Crib by herself?
Mm-hmm.
What do the other babies sleep in?
She sleeps in our bedroom in the bassinet next to the bed.
Okay. House within it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do y'all put her in a room down by herself and not a room with you out?
Well, because she's 14 months old. She's been in her crib since she was about 6 months old, and Aubrey just turned 6 months last Wednesday. So we were working on transitioning her out of our bed into her bassinet at about 2 months. And so she's been in the bassinet since then. So now since she's sleeping through the night, we were about to start working on transitioning her to her crib that's in the same room as Jeriah's.
So that's something y'all do, is have the babies sleep in another room?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, keep going.
In their nursery. I mean, and the room, our room is maybe a few feet away from theirs, and both of the doors are open, so we hear when they cry or, you know, whatever, because Aubrey sleeps in her crib during the day when she takes naps. Well, we went to sleep probably around 11, Morris and I did. And about 5:30, he woke up and asked if we had any juice in the house. And I said, no, but there's some Powerade on the top of the refrigerator if you want me to get that. And he said, you can. And so I went to get that, and we walked out of our room and we walked through the nursery to get to the living room. And I looked over and I saw her face in the bed, which if I've seen it before.
You forgot how she was laying.
She was.
Was she face down on the
Face
side?
down. She was face down.
With her head to the side.
It was kind of like her face was in that little crease between the bed and the mattress.
Okay.
And so it wasn't to the side, but it wasn't straight down either.
Okay.
When I usually, because she sleeps wild, so if I see her sleeping in an awkward position, I move her and correct the position and, you know, go on. But when I touched her, she was cold. She was abnormally cold, and she was heavy. And being in the nursing position, I kind of had like a flashback, kind of, sort of, or you know, something seems familiar, although it's new. And I immediately turned around and I went and got Morris and had him come get her up and ask me if we saw how she was, but she wasn't responding to me when I touched her. And and he called 911, and then he called her mom, and they came over and then they called others.
But how long you was gone out the bed? More between the time?
Not even 30 seconds.
About 30 seconds. And he called 911.
Immediately after we found it, immediately after.
So, how old was the baby?
6 months.
6 months. Now, this is another question I got to ask. How long y'all been married?
A year, about 14 months.
Okay. So this particular child here, there was something going on before y'all got married. It's about another woman he was dealing with. Was you all in a relationship at that time?
Boyfriend and girlfriend.
No, I'm saying boyfriend, girlfriend. And this somebody else he, messing with and didn't have a child. Okay, then how long after this girl mother got pregnant, how long after that did y'all get married? Can you remember?
She got pregnant in October of 2015, or November, late October, early November, one of those. And we got married July the next year. She was born 2 days after we got married. 3 days.
You had any problems?
Me and her were best friends. Well, not best friends, but we were really cool. The only problems we've had is lack of communication. But she'll call me before she calls Morris, which is what she would before CPS told her to call Morris.
And she ever complain about any bruises or anything on the baby?
Well, no, we did. At one point, when this was back in July, she was learning how to walk. And if you look outside in our backyard, we have like the smooth cement, and then we have like the rocky cement. And this was like when she just started, she just turned 1 and she was just learning how to walk. And she fell when she transitioned from the smooth cement to the rocky cement. And she hit her head straight on the ground. But I called Morris from football practice and we took her straight to the hospital. And they said she was fine. It was It's typical for a baby learning how to walk. But that's pretty much it.
Okay. So y'all never had no history problems, nothing like that. Y'all were friends. And you're from where?
I'm from Hattiesburg.
Okay, you from Hattiesburg.
We wasn't like, hey, let's go to the movies type friends. We were basically sister wives in a sense. Like she now, mind you, her and my husband were not in a relationship. It was a one night stand that resulted in a child, but we took the child in as our own, and she was, I mean and that's why we had a good relationship because I.
Was they ever blood test? So Mark did have blood test. Not the baby was here. Wow. It was one night stand.
Per both of them, I don't really know, but that's what they both told me.
Are you familiar with, you say you were LPN, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with Sears?
Yes. Yeah, I was scared for Jeriah and Aubrey. Still with Aubrey. And now I didn't know. I didn't think I still had to be concerned with Jeriah.
Then they asked you had your statements at the time.
No, it's been rocky.
What's been rocky?
The whole transition to Fort Gibson, get married, find out there's a child involved. The child is just beautiful. She's sweet. She is obedient. She was my first baby. That was my first baby. And we tried to do everything possible because it was always, when we did a lot, it was that we was trying to take the baby. And so she kind of took the baby from us a little bit, but then she realized that we weren't mean people, and she let us start coming around more. And I mean, just the smallness of a city like this, it's like Hattiesburg is a crab-looking city as well. And nobody want to see nobody doing good. And I don't know, just when you talk to my husband, questions you ask me didn't offend me because I know you got to do a job. And I know you got to ask him questions. But he's not doing good right now. He's waiting on his mama to die. He woke up to his baby dead.
Who put the baby in the crib?
He did.
You placed it in the crib when y'all got home.
He usually tucks her in, put it in, turns on her nighttime song, but the iPad was dead, so he did last night. And he tucked her baby doll under her arm. And matter of fact, after he tucked her in, it's like the bedroom, hallway, nursery, bathroom. He took a shower. I was cleaning up. She was fine because I remember when he opened the door from the shower, she was kind of like making noises in her sleep. But when I went in, because I opened the door because I was going to turn the water back on for me to get in the shower. And I said, wait. And you could hear her in the room. It's like, she's like, But I said, hold on. So I went in there. He was like, I'm coming. I was like, oh no. So I went up in there and I looked at her, and her face she was turned to the side. She was still basically in the same position he laid in. I just thought she may have been talking in her sleep.
You say y'all got about 11 o'clock, y'all put to bed.
She went to bed about 10. We went to bed about 11.
Y'all found her at what time?
5:30.
5:30. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
everything told me truth, record, facts, truth, that you good.
Yes, sir.
Time 7:42 a.m. October 22nd, 2017 at the Clayton County Sheriff Department. Once again, I never been a station name again.
T'Kia Bevily.
That's going to end his interview at this time. You want to answer a question about Jeriah Smith and what happened on the 21st, and 22nd, coming up to the 22nd of October 2017? In your own words, tell us from the beginning about what time you and Morris, your husband, got possession of Jeriah from whoever y'all got her from that Saturday up until you found her in the crib.
We picked Jeriah up from Morris and I. We picked Jeriah up from the Sitco's gas station on 18 from Morris's auntie Annie. Auntie Annie picked Jeriah up from Morris's auntie Ned, who's Jeriah stayed the night prior. We had received word that his mom, Morris's mom, who's in the hospital, probably wouldn't make it past that day. So we wanted both the girls, Jeriah and I, to spend time and be around his mom, Morris's mom. So we all went to River Region in Vicksburg. We made it there around 12 o'clock, and we stayed there all day until about 8:30, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, whenever we stayed, made it back. And we left the hospital, went to the wing spot in Vicksburg. I cannot think of the name, but it's between the Mexican restaurant and Dollar General on Highway 61. After picking up Morris's food, we went to Pizza Hut in Port Gibson to pick up my food. After leaving Pizza Hut, we made it to the house. Aubrey was still asleep. I believe Jeriah woke when Morris got her out of the car. I put Aubrey in her bassinet. Morris brought Jeriah to the bedroom, the master bedroom as well, and laid on the bed, changed her diaper, went to the crib. Aubrey kind of stirred a little bit, so I went to, just coax her back to sleep. And then I tried to clean up a little bit from the mess we left when we got in a rush that morning, while Morris went into the shower. After Morris got out, was getting out of the shower, I was going in to put my towel and my clothes in, and that's when I heard Jeriah kind of making a noise. Do I need to do it? It was like katak. It was real low. It was like katak. And so I went when Morris said, well, I'll go check. And I said, no, it's okay. You just get out of the shower. I'll go check. And so I just looked over in her crib, and she was still turned in the same position that he had laid her, which was on her stomach, with her head turned to the right, with her baby doll in front of her, and her blue red behind her, and her sheet pulled up to like here. And she stopped. She stopped, and I went back in the bathroom, and then I went to take my shower, and I saw Morris when he got in. Just when he got in the bed. Because when I got out, he was already asleep. And his PM was on the TV.
So he was asleep. You got a shower. Keep going.
Cause you gotta think about it. They had a game that Friday night. He works from 6 o'clock in the morning, about 6:30. We'll leave the house at 6:30 in the morning, and then it's out on the field until about 10, and then he doesn't get home until about 11:30, sometimes after 12. And then he had community service that morning with Capital League of, I don't know, I guess Alcorn hosted. And so he had to get up and go to community service and be in Natchez, not in Natchez, I think on Alcorn campus for 8, but he also had to go pick up a couple of the football players that are also part of faculty. But and I don't take a short shower. I'm in bed for about 10 minutes, so I would not. It was normal for me to come out and sleep. But so we get to sleep. It was about 11 o'clock when both of us were going to sleep. And so wait, hold on. I completely forgot. Because I was just thinking, how was it 11 and we got home at 10? Morris and I sat in the sunroom after both the girls went to bed. We sat in the sunroom talking. He had like a little breakdown about his mom. And we sat out there for about 20-25 minutes. But we went outside. It's like sunroom, as you see, is still part of the house. And the hallway connects to both the nursery and the master bedroom. But then after that, that's when we went to go take a shower. There we go. So then he got in the bed. Well, he was asleep. I got in the bed, turned the TV off, and sleep. He woke me up around 5:30, asking if we had any juice in the house. I said, no, we got some power ready. Would you like me to put it on ice? And he said, no, you don't have to put it on any ice. Just bring me a bottle. So I said, okay. So I went to go through the I would normally walk to the nursery to get him a pack or get whatever you want of the kitchen, and I noticed Jeriah was sleeping in what seemed to me as an uncomfortable position. And whenever I see her sleeping in what seems to me as an uncomfortable position, I usually move her. And when I went to move her, she was cold. And Aubrey has a cold and has had a cold for about the past month. We usually sleep in a cold house, but since she's been sick, we've been trying to see if sleeping warmer will help her not stay so sick. So it was odd for her to be so cold, as warm as it is in the house. And so that, along with how heavy she was, how heavy and how stiff she was, it really kind of like scared me, because I'm like half asleep. And it like scared me for a minute. So I went and I got Morris and I said, I'm going to check on Jeriah. And he got out the bed, went to go, he turned her over. And she was still hurt. Like, this arm was like stuck here. And then her legs were still in the position they were. And her mouth looked, I didn't look at it long, because I couldn't look at it long. So, but it looked like her face had conformed to the shape of the crib, the side of the crib. And I knew her face was in the blanket. And so when her mom got there, he got 911 and told them where to come. And then he called her mom and told her that there was an emergency with Jeriah and she needed to get to the house. I kept trying to figure out, like, what happened, what happened, what did we do, what happened. Because she's 14 months old. Sis is 12, as you start wearing my sis at 12 months. And all she had in the bed was her body rag, her bed, her sheets. She wasn't tangled in the sheets. Her face was, she did have a rather large size pillow in the bed with her. She was a big girl, so I didn't understand. I don't understand. So that's, here we are today.
All right. Basically, as you know, we've been conducting an investigation and trying to figure out any and everything that took place.
Mm-hmm.
And we just basically wanted to go back at least 72 hours to just basically to see how Jeriah was doing. Mm-hmm. And you've explained that you came in contact with Jeriah October the 21st at 12 p.m. at Citgo in Port Gibson, Mississippi. That's the gas station that's located on Highway 18. And basically, when you saw her, on October the 21st at 12 p.m., she was in the custody of Annie.
Jennings.
Okay. And how was Jeriah when she came into your custody? Or came into your custody?
She was Jeriah. She was calmer than usual. And she fussed when I changed her clothes.
So you changed your clothes where?
In the car, in the back seat of the Charger we were in, because when we got her, she had on some dirty sleeping clothes that she had on from the night prior, and I had brought an outfit from home to change her into.
Okay. And she said that, how was she acting?
Yeah, she was calm. She wasn't playful yet. It takes a minute to warm up, but she was calm. She ate some chicken that Morris had went inside to sit down and got. She was just fine.
Just fine. No, okay. Then no sign. Did you see? You was changing her clothes, so you had a good eye shot of her. You could see everything on her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see any signs of physical abuse or anything at that time?
Jeriah has really bad eczema. And I can't recall if the spots had cleared up, but at one time she had, it looked like it could have been burn marks, but that's just not there. Her eczema had gotten, they were like, she had patches, white patches on her legs.
This is Saturday?
No, I said I can't recall if they were there, but
what did you observe on Saturday, October 21st?
Nothing abnormal. Nothing abnormal. She was, but that's not, nothing out of the ordinary. She is used. I saw the normal eczema. She had
So nothing.
So nothing that
out of the
cause
ordinary.
alarm.
Okay. All right. What kind of clothes did you put on? Do you recall?
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
She had on a outfit that my mom had bought her. It was a pink strappy, but they weren't like straps. They were like thick straps, but they weren't sleeves. It was pink, and it was like it had like a few layers on it that past the top part, and it was like sheer and sparkly.
What was it? A onesie?
It was a shirt. She had on. It was a top. Was like it was flowy, but it stopped like here, and she had on. It had a pink flower on it, and then she had on pink bottoms.
Okay.
Pink bottoms.
So did you comb her hair?
Not that day.
Okay.
Because we were headed to the hospital. I wanted to get her that morning so I could do her hair and get her ready, because we were already planning on going to visit his mom after he got out of the community service, and then her mom had said that she needed some winter clothes, so we were planning on taking her to get that and her Halloween costume that evening. That's what we had told her mom. But when they said that we needed to be at the hospital, we stayed at the hospital all day.
Okay. So y'all pretty much when y'all picked up Jeriah at the Sicko on Highway 18, y'all left there and went to Vicksburg, Mississippi, to the hospital where Morris's mother is. Like, y'all was there about what, 1 o'clock, 12:30?
We got Jeriah around 11.
Okay.
About 11:30.
Okay.
We made it to Vicksburg a little after 12.
Okay, a little after 12, y'all were at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you guys remained until what time?
About between 8:30 and 9.
Did not leave the hospital.
We never left.
Okay, and Aubrey was in your care?
Well, actually, both of the girls were, because I didn't say in this interview, there was about 15, 20 family members there. So, both girls were left hospital.
Okay, so they were basically, someone was handling them the entire time they were there at the hospital. Okay, did you notice anything happen to any of the kids? Okay, nothing significant happened as far as physical. Did they make a mistake, or someone run and hit their head on something, or nothing? Okay, so basically, what time did you guys leave the hospital?
About 8:30 or 9. Between 8:30 and 9.
PM.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you left the hospital, you guys walked out to the car, got in the, what type of car is it?
I don't know the year, but it's a Dodge Charger, a white Dodge Charger.
Got into the white Dodge Charger. And who were you carrying as you was walking out of the
I
hospital?
carried Jeriah.
You was carrying Jeriah. And Morris was carrying Aubrey
in her car seat.
in her car seat. Okay, and you guys put, where did you place him? What was the placement in the car?
Jeriah's car seat sits behind my seat, and Aubrey's sits behind Morris's. But it's kind of in the middle between the middle seat and the other seat. But basically, it was Jeriah and then Aubrey. So Jeriah was in her car seat. Aubrey was in her car seat behind Morris.
Okay. And so you were on the front passenger side. And when you went to the, you got in the car, the babies were buckled in their car seats. Morris got in. You guys proceeded to go 61 South to the wing place. And that's where you stopped. When you got to the wing place, what took place?
Well, heading to the wing spot, something started going weird with the car. It was like, felt like we had kind of a blowout. So we got to the wing spot, we both got out and looked at the back right tire. And so we felt the inside, it was bald. So we actually was trying to contemplate that we need to get a room in Big Bird. And I said, no, I think, we can make it home. Because we still got 3 good ones. As long as you don't speed, it's not raining, or it's not wet, we should be fine. And because it was a little drizzling, but so he went inside. We had our Twinkle Twinkle Little Star playing to keep the girls asleep, and went inside, checked on his order, stayed there for like 2 or 3 minutes, and it wasn't done.
What were you doing?
I was sitting in the car on my phone, Facebook.
Oh, you were on Facebook? Oh, okay.
And he comes outside and sits in the car and said, I didn't know what you needed, because he left his phone in the car. He said, I wasn't sure if you needed anything. They went down my food, so I came, he was just
So
checking.
Jeriah still sleeping?
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is a godsend for those 2 days.
Okay.
So,
he got his,
he went back, he got back out, went inside, got his food, and came back out.
Okay.
Got in the car, went to Pizza Hut.
And y'all proceeded to make any sudden stops on your way from Vicksburg?
No, because like I said, we had to make sure we were driving carefully because that day right time.
So you know for a fact there was no jerking or anything of the sort? So nothing would cause the baby to hit anything in there?
No.
Okay, so you proceeded from the wing place to Fort Gibson, Mississippi? And when you got to Fort Gibson, Mississippi, your first stop was?
Pizza Hut.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember who went in. Because I'm pretty sure he was there late at night, Morris went in. So I'm pretty sure Morris went in. Yeah, because I said if I had known he was going in, I would have ordered more, because he would have had to pay for it. So Morris went in, and he got it, and he came back out in the car, and while he's in there,
How was the babies when
fine, sleep.
y'all still playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star?
Because mind you, they had been up all day.
Okay.
Neither one of them got a nap. They had just fallen asleep before we left the hospital. But so we get home, and that was the last stop.
Okay. So after Pizza Hut, where did you guys go?
Home.
Were there any sudden stops in the car? No bumping or anything? So when you get home, what happened?
Morris got Jeriah out. That she did wake up when we was at the house, and I got Aubrey out, and she was still asleep. And we both went in. He opened the door, we both went in the house, and put Aubrey in her bassinet. He changed Jeriah's diaper.
He changed Jeriah what part of the house?
In the master bedroom. He
Okay.
changed her on our bed. He put her diaper in the diaper genie. And then he went and put her and laid her down in the crib.
And what were you doing?
When he laid her down in the crib, I had gone to the front because I was going to try to start cleaning up. And he said, and I don't know how I forgot that part. He said, can we talk? And so we went and said.
This is before he showered.
This is before he showered. We went and sat in the sunroom.
Okay.
And he said I didn't talk for a few minutes, and that's when I told him that Of course, I don't understand how he's feeling because I haven't lost my mom. My mom is deceased, and you know, we just had a husband and wife talk, sitting in the sun.
Now, Jeriah went back to sleep?
Jeriah, right? And we had never had a problem since Jeriah started. We put Jeriah, when we first moved into this house, Jeriah was sleeping in the bed with me and Morris. And then one day, we were in Jackson at the mall, me, Jeriah, and Morris. And her mom, this was like back in January, February. Her mom called and said that DHS was coming to our house the next day because she had a call. Somebody called in on her. And they were coming to our house, and we were supposed to have this long list of stuff to make the house appropriate for Jeriah, which included a crib, which we didn't have yet because we just moved into the house that Christmas. And so we went to Walmart that night. We got a crib, little outlet plugs, we got smoke detectors, and all kinds of stuff to abide by what DHS said we needed to have. And so that's why we put Jeriah in the crib, because DHS said we would get fined or something if we didn't. And maybe at the third night we put her in her crib, it was like when you laid her in there, you say, all right, it's time to go night-night. She would lay down, would not argue. Even if she didn't go straight to sleep, she would lay down until she fell asleep. So we never had a problem with her laying down and going to sleep, ever. She was that obedient. You say lay down, go night-night, she would lay down until she fell asleep.
Okay, so on October the 21st, Saturday night.
She did not wake up. She stayed
While
awake.
you guys were in the sunroom, Jeriah was asleep. Okay. All right. And how long would you estimate y'all were in the sunroom?
About 25 minutes.
20, 25 minutes in the sunroom talking. Okay. And after that?
After that, he went to take a shower. And that's when I started finishing up what I was doing in the living room. And then he was getting out of the shower. The door was open. I heard him turn the shower off, so I was going and put my things in there. And that's when I heard Jeriah stirring. And, you know, when we checked on her, she was fine, no signs of distress. I said, okay, she's fine. And then I went to my shower. Came out. Morris was asleep. The ESPN was on. And I got in bed and I was asleep.
All right, now tell me this. The noise. Describe that noise again.
It was like, ka-ta, ka-ta.
When did you do that?
Right when I was about to get in the shower.
Okay. So you heard the noise when you was about to get in the shower.
And I was walking, because I had come through the nursery, put my stuff in there, put my stuff in the bathroom, and so the door was open and the nursery door was open. It's probably maybe about 5-6 feet apart. And so I heard it. He heard it too, and he said, I'll go check on her. I said, no, you just getting out of the shower. It's okay, I'll go. And she was okay.
So you went in and checked on her.
Mm-hmm.
So you was the last person to see Jeriah.
Well, I was going to say technically, but, you know, after he got out of the shower, he had to go to the nursery. And I didn't see him, but I'm like 98% sure he, of course, looked over and saw her well as well. And then when I was coming out of the bathroom, I went into the bedroom, and I looked in. She was fine as well. And I went down to the bed. So yeah, I was the last one to see her.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, when you heard her making that sound, he went in and checked on her as well. Or you
I said I would assume after he got, put on his towel and was walking to the bedroom that he checked on her as well.
But you're not positive of that?
We didn't talk about that.
What did he say it was?
He said it sounded like a cough.
Okay.
But he didn't. I guess the part maybe could have sounded like one of him. But it sounded like talking to me. Like,
so, the last time when you saw her, what position was she in?
on the pillow, face turned to the right, with her black baby, with a little baby doll in front of her, and her blue bunny behind her, and the blanket still pulled. Like, that noise she was making did not interfere with her placing it out. She was still covered. The sheet pulled up about midway back to the top of the bed, and that was it.
She wasn't disturbed at all. Was she laying on her back, side, stomach? She was laying on her stomach. And who put her in the bed?
Morris.
Morris put her in the bed. And she was laying on her stomach. That's what you saw? Okay. Was she in the center of the bed in the crib, or was she?
It was no. It was more so, it was like between the center and between the left side. So she wasn't like dead set in the middle, but she wasn't against the crib wall either.
Okay. All right. And you checked on her. Everything's fine.
Walked through the nursery, tiptoed through the nursery, because we just got the floors done and they creak real bad now. But walked through, got in the bed, and went to sleep.
When you got out of the shower and you peeked in, she was fine. She was still on her stomach.
Mm-hmm.
When you got in the bedroom, the master bedroom, what was Aubrey doing?
Sleep.
What was Morris doing?
Sleep.
Okay. And you got in the bed. And what happened next?
I woke up at 5:30. Morris woke me up and asked if we had anything to drink in the house. I said, and he said we had juice in the house. So we had Pyrex on top of the refrigerator. And said, you want to put it on ice? He said, no, you have to put it on ice. Just go get me a bottle. So I went to go get it. And I saw that she was in that weird position, what seems to be an uncomfortable position.
Well, describe that position.
I want to say that I really wasn't looking at her body. I was just looking at, where her face was. Because I want to say maybe a part of her was under the cover. I can't remember. But I just remember seeing her looking uncomfortable with her face in the pillow, like it was like, this is the bed, this is the wall, and her face was like in between.
Was she on her stomach?
She was on
back?
She was on her stomach.
She was on her stomach.
And that's how I remember. She was on her stomach, and her face was faced in.
Now, what you're describing to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that she was still in the crib, and she was laying on her stomach, and her face was wedged between the mattress and the framing of the crib.
Yes. Trying to think of what the pillow was. I can't see it. What you just said was based. I don't know if it was wedged, but I know that's what it looked like. To me, that's what it looked like.
And what you do?
I tried to move her because I was like, because we found her sometimes when she completely turned around and she was against the crib as well. She was against the crib. And I'm like, Morris, look at Jeriah. He'd be like, Kid, come look at Jeriah. Look at how, she turned. And, we were like, hi. Dead thing, sleep, wow. And, so I went to move her. I want to say I tried to grab her like by her shoulder. And she was really heavy. Like, when you move somebody's shoulder, just the shoulder move. But it was like stiff like an arm, like when you move it, the whole thing moves. And she was really, really cold. She was really, 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 really abnormally cold. And so I went and ran out of Morris. And he got up.
What'd you go get Morris for?
Because it was like I had like a flashback kind of to working in a nursing home. And I had a resident that, the parents were seeing it. I actually had seen my first deceased resident right before I left.
What you mean? What
Like I had never, because I was pregnant the whole time I was working at Payne County Senior Care.
Okay.
And so they would never, superstition, pregnant women not supposed to see dead bodies. So anytime somebody would pass, they wouldn't let.
But that's what you're referring to as a flashback.
Right, yeah.
Now, describe what you did when you
Well,
saw
when I
Jeriah.
felt it, and when it was heavy, when it was hard for me to turn on, I immediately went in the bedroom.
What were your mindset then? What were you thinking?
I don't know, I was just scared.
Why were you scared?
Because I don't deal with this. It was like my mind immediately, because I watched so many scary movies and so much, so my mind immediately went to what's wrong with this baby. Was like, and it was like I was half sleeping. I wasn't thinking straight, and I couldn't see her really, because like I said, it was just the light from the night light shining on. And I don't think I wanted. I think I thought something is really wrong, but I didn't want to see it.
Why would you think something was really wrong?
I'm telling you, I was like, when I felt how cold she was, and when I felt how hard it was for me to try to turn her over, that's what made me think something was wrong. It's a feeling that I'll never forget, but I just can't put it into words more than she was just so cold and so heavy and so still.
Okay. So what did you do at that point?
I went and I got boards.
What placement did you leave Jeriah in that crib?
Well, like I said, it was all I did was try to grab her shoulder, and when her entire body tries to start, but I couldn't lift it. I'm pretty sure I left her in the same position I found her.
And what was that?
Face down on the bed.
On her stomach?
On her stomach.
And her face turned?
Right. And on her face didn't turn. It was still in the same, between the bed and like her neck didn't turn. Nothing moved.
Okay. So then what did you do?
I went and I got Morris and I screamed at him. I said, Morris, come check on Jeriah.
You left out of the room or you stayed in the room?
And the nursery?
Yeah.
No, I went because it's like maybe 2 or 3 feet from the nursery to the bedroom. And I went and I said, Morris, come check on Jeriah. He got out the bed, jumped out the bed, and he came. And I don't remember him turning her over, but I remember looking in the crib when she was on her bed.
So both of you guys were in there without turning the light on to really investigate?
He did. He turned on the light before he moved her.
Who turned on the light?
Morris did. Morris turned on the light before he moved her.
So did you leave out of the room or you stayed inside?
Yeah, I stayed in the room. And when he turned her over, I ran and got his phone. I did that. I'm trying to figure out how Morris got the phone, because I know he did, because when I screamed and woke him up, or when I screamed for him to get out of the bed, I don't think he grabbed his phone.
Now, did you scream and wake him up, or did you scream?
No, he was out. We just woke up. When I screamed to get him up, I can't recall how he got. I just remember screaming, telling him to call 911.
Okay.
And he called 911.
At that point, where are you?
I'm still in the nursery. He's on the phone. But then I leave the nursery because he's in the hall screaming to the lady on that 911.
What does he say?
My baby's dead. Can you send somebody?
Did he say that before he went into the room?
No. We didn't call 911 until he turned her over. I think I was too scared of what my background was telling me was there and I didn't want to see it. And I'm pretty sure, because for some reason, I didn't have the strength to turn it over. So that's why I said, come check on Jeriah. I told him, I said, come check on Jeriah. And he ran in there, he turned on the light. And he said, my baby. He said, Jeriah, wake up, baby. Jeriah, wake up. But she was blue. She was fully blue, and I knew. And he knew. He called 911, and he was asking for them to send an ambulance.
You saw her face and it appeared to be blue?
It was blue, and it was like, when you see a child put their face on the window and the face kind of smears. That's what her face looked like.
And basically, you left the room and told him to come out, come here. He came into the room. You saying he turned her over or you turned her over?
He turned on the light, he turned her over. He was screaming at her to wake up.
And that's when you saw her face to appear to be blue.
Right.
And at that point, what happened?
I said, Morris, call 911. And so he called 911, telling the lady on the phone that his baby's dead, they need to send somebody. They need to send somebody out there. And she couldn't understand what he was saying because he was screaming. And I was screaming at him, telling him to just give me the phone. And then he wanted to do it. He wanted to call. He wanted to be the one. And he was telling the lady where to come. And then he got the phone with her, still screaming. And he called the lady's mom and told her that there was an emergency with Jeriah and she needed to get to the house.
Then what happened?
Then
That's when all the officials come to the house?
that's when her mom gets there.
Jeriah's mother? What's her name?
Deidreana Smith.
Deidreana? She arrived at your house? She arrived there before any officials? And she was called after?
After 911.
Okay. And what happened when she got there?
Morris walked her in the room and he said, we just woke up and this is how we found her. And then
What were you doing?
I didn't have one. I was running. When I saw her pulling up, I went in my room to put on some clothes. There to throw on some clothes, and then when she came outside, when she came in there, she saw her, and she started screaming, and she asked what happened, and I said, I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I could think of is maybe she suffocated in that pillow.
Speak up.
I said, I'm sorry. I was trying. So I don't know. The only thing I could think of is maybe she suffocated in that pillow based on how I had found her. And
This is what you're telling Deidreana?
I said, this. I said, I think she suffocated in her sleep. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I don't know, Dee. I said, I do not know. I said, this is just how we found her. And so she got herself up and took it up and she went outside. She started making a phone call. And
What was Morris doing?
he was outside on the phone. He was dead.
Okay. And what did you do?
When Ivory stayed asleep through my screaming, Morris' screaming, my screaming and Morris screaming. But when Deidreana started screaming, Ivory woke up, so I was tending to her.
And where were you?
In the living room.
Did you draw a diagram earlier?
I did.
Okay. Can you point out the the diagram where it's the sunroom. You labeled everything, the sunroom, the living room, and everything? Okay. All right. And you said that you took Aubrey where?
I was with Aubrey in the living room.
In the living room, and that's what you said. And Morris was outside.
Outside of all the things.
And Jeriah was.
She was sitting on the front porch calling her family members.
And at that point, Jeriah was still
In her crib.
And did Jeriah touch her or do anything or move her? So basically, she was still the way that Morris had left her. Okay. And is it anything else that you can think of?
I mean, after that, her family members started coming. They came. It was.
Right. So tell me this: what happened? What do you think happened? Or what do you know happened?
I know we put her to bed the same way we put her to bed every night. And when I say we, it's interchangeable, we'll put her to sleep, which is on the stomach, baby doll, blue bunny, sheet of no restrictive clothing, no nothing.
What did she have on?
She had a onesie.
She had on a onesie?
Mm-hmm.
And what color was that onesie?
I don't remember. I reckon Morris changed her into the onesie before she went to bed. Because like I said, she had on this flowy top with the pink bottoms. But when I had went in there, when we saw her that morning, she had on the onesie, so I reckon Morris, got her ready for bed.
So you saw her, the last time you saw her, she had the onesie on, or she was under the cover, or what?
What do you mean, like the very last time I saw her?
No, the last time
Before she went to bed?
Yeah. Before you got in the shower.
I don't recall what she had on when she was laying in the crib, because I didn't know that Morris had changed her, but he had changed her for her to have on the onesie that morning.
Where are you getting that she had a onesie on?
I saw her.
What color was it?
I don't know, because I just remember Morris asking the coroner, could she put on some pants before they took her out? And he told her she had to have on what she had on.
And what did she have on?
Just that onesie, but I don't remember what color it was. But I just remember seeing the flap of the onesie, because I didn't want to see it like that.
Okay. All right. Investigator Jefferson has some additional information as it pertains to this investigation, which is ongoing. And I'm going to let Investigator Jefferson inform you of what the coroner report revealed. Are you familiar with that? What the coroner report revealed? Or the autopsy? You sure? Oh, okay. All right.
Coroner states 14-month-old child was found dead by her father, not breathing. Father called 911. Claim County Sheriff Department called, Claim County Coroner called, coroner ordered autopsy. That's basically what his report said.
So you know what an autopsy is, right? That's what state Mississippi medical examiners, they go in, they do this day in, day out. Very experienced at this. And basically, they know their stuff, and they work and give us information as it pertains to the evidence that cause it. They give us a cause of death and a manner of death. All right, and basically, we have a provisional autopsy report right now, and James is going to inform you of the information that the medical examiner revealed from his autopsy of Jeriah.
Cause of death, multiple blunt head trauma. Manner of death, homicide.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
That's how she died.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
She didn't fall. She
Yeah.
didn't hit her head.
He said it's not caused by fall.
How was it?
Somebody did it.
just got that baby today. Do we get to take a polygraph or anything?
Basically, we just trying to find out what I don't know if you want to take one or not. Basically, we want to know what happened.
No, because they already know. They already saying I killed this baby. And I didn't touch Jeriah. I didn't lay her down.
Who said that?
That's what I was quick to see. That's why I called Lieutenant Gibson yesterday. I didn't hurt this baby, you know, it's a homicide.
You need a moment?
No.
Just take your time. Take your time.
I don't know when it could have happened. And I was talking to my sister-in-law, and she said, did she fall? No, I was talking to one of my fellow nurses at the nursing home, who's also a friend of Adriana's family, and she said, well, did she fall? Did she hit her head? I said, no. I said, Jeriah hadn't hit her head with us since July 27th. And that was the reason why we were only getting her every other weekend, because when she fell from learning how to walk, they tried to say that it was on purpose, which Jeriah had never gone home with a single scratch before July 27th, and we had her since November 16th of last year. And so when they was trying to say that I did it, I said, no, this is not my child for me to be putting myself in this position. So I said, Morris will get her every other weekend, and we're not going to get her unless you're here with me. So that way, nothing can be said. And so we were getting her every other weekend. She was going over his mama's house on Fridays. And Saturday morning, Morris would pick her up, and she'd come spend Saturday with us, go to church Sunday, and we take her back home Saturday and Sunday afternoon. That night, that baby was fine in that bed. And like I said, we had never had a problem with her going to sleep, so it wasn't like she was crying and we got frustrated. Like, I know that's something that happens. She doesn't cry. She was crying at one point when she realized that, not this past weekend, but she used to cry when she realized my baby was born nowhere, because at first she was like a baby. And then when she realized that Ivory was there to stay, she went into baby mode and she would cry. But then she started getting better. She wouldn't cry when she came over. She would play. She would hold Aubrey. Matter of fact, I did her toenails and her fingernails the weekend before, and the coaches were there. And she went out and let them see her nails and her toes. We had no reason to hurt this baby. But I went anyway. That's all I was saying. Y'all need to ask that girl, Adriana, because we didn't hurt that baby.
Okay. So now that's what we're getting at. So you said that you guys were the only two at the house that night.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying Danielle and...
No, this is how she got to our family. Adriana had court. Her son. She had to go to court for something on Friday. And she had Jeriah in Vicksburg. Danielle is Morris's cousin. She ran into Adriana that day, and she said, well, let me get Jeriah. So Adriana gave Jeriah to Danielle. Danielle called me, and she was like, do you recognize that cry in the background? And I said, I didn't hear a baby crying. And she said, that's Jeriah crying. And I said, I said, give her the phone. And I said, Jeriah. And she kept on crying. I said, put me on FaceTime. So she called me through Messenger on Facebook. And I said, Jeriah. And she looked at me and she said, huh? And I said, we a big girl, right? And she said, uh-huh. I said, so we don't do that. I said, we don't cry like that, right? And she said, uh-huh. And so there was a little boy trying to wipe her nose. I said, no. to give that tissue to Jeriah. He gave Jeriah the tissue. I said, now show me your big girl. Let me wipe your face. You wipe your nose and wipe your face. She wiped her tears off. She wiped her nose. And I said, you okay? She said, okay. And she went with Danielle to her house. And then I kept telling her, bring the baby to, I said, okay, you can bring Jeriah to our house. And she said, well, my mama want her tonight. And I said, well, y'all need to ask Morris that, because that's his child. You know, you can't just be telling him with his child I'm going. She said, well, my mama want her tonight. So I said, well, y'all text Morris and ask him. Morris at football game. So she said, Danielle sent Jeriah with Andrew, which is Morris's brother, to his auntie's house. So Andrew took Jeriah to Auntie Ned's house. And they stayed the night over there.
Let me say this while you're going to my kid. I was at the autopsy. At the autopsy, there's nothing she could have walked around with playing. Like she was in the hospital, okay? She wouldn't have been like that. When this happened, it was massive.
I don't know.
So her walking around playing hospital, it didn't happen yet.
What do you mean?
It was massive, according to the doctor. It was severe. Like then she could have played 8 in normal.
We gotta take some. I understand he a doctor. He been doing this. We need to take some tests. We need to take some tests because this.
That's what the doctor did. He did an autopsy.
Say that again.
That's what.
Yeah,
the doctor
no, I'm
did.
not talking about that. I'm talking about lie detector tests. Don't y'all do that?
We can arrange that to happen.
Well, we need to do that. Put me and Morris on that because this.
I'm not saying that you are.
I'm saying it. I know you're not. And I know y'all not accusing nobody. But what you just read to me and what we're telling you, didn't nobody have that baby but me and Morris. We did not hurt that baby. We did not hurt that baby.
How did the baby get hurt?
I don't know. I should have never took that baby in. I don't know what's happening. I didn't do it. I know Morris didn't do it. I was there. If he would have hurt her, I would have heard it. She would have looked different. And when I went in the bathroom, when I came out, she did.
While Morris was in the shower, what happened?
I was just up in there, just trying to finish cleaning up what I had started in the living room. Then I walked to the room to get my stuff for the shower, and I walked back through the nursery to put it in the bathroom. And that was it.
So you didn't have to make her go to sleep? She was already asleep?
I'm telling you, we never had to make Jeriah go to sleep. She didn't cry. We told her it was time to go to sleep. Matter of fact, sometimes we would have to make her get up. We would have to, she would sleep well into the day if we let. We would have to wake her up and we woke her. That's how well she slept.
So she slept overnight?
She slept overnight fine. We didn't have to touch her. We didn't have to do nothing.
Okay. And she went to sleep about what time?
We made it back by 10, so it was maybe between 10 and 15 she was laid down.
And how many adults was in the house?
It was just me and Morris.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
And so how did the baby sustain the injuries?
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't know. But I know Morris would never harm that baby. And I know I didn't do it. We did not touch that baby that night. I don't know what happened.
You don't have an idea of anything?
I don't know. I'm just telling you. I can tell you this, I can tell you this, what happened 100 times over, and it's not gonna change because.
When the last time did she eat?
When she was eating nowadays, she ate with my husband. She ate with Morris' daddy. Thank you. She ate with Morris' daddy. I had ordered McDonald's food. So she had potatoes. She had sandwiches. Me and herself and ate some ice chips for a little bit.
So when you got home, when did y'all eat? You and Morris.
Oh, wait. How did we eat? I'm trying to think. Like I forgot that we sat in the sunroom. When did we eat? All I got was some wings. So when did I eat those wings?
But you was the last one to see Jeriah before you found her that morning. Did Morris ever get up out the bed that you know of?
Because it's like we wake each other up if we move because the bed, we got the bed from somebody, so it was the frame, we got the frame from somebody, so it's like metal and creaky. So when you move, it'll wake you up.
So you don't know how Jeriah sustained
And
that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And then the pathologist is saying that she couldn't have played. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Have you ever had to discipline Jeriah?
No.
Never.
I left. Look, it was. She's not my baby, so I didn't want to have to spank her. I left it to Morris, but Morris just did like when she would cry. He didn't discipline her like I would discipline Ivory. Like when Ivory gets a little older and she's crying for no reason, she's gonna get a popping on the legs, like my mama did me. But when Jeriah would cry and I'm like, Morris, come get Jeriah, he would take her and he would separate her and he would he would take her with him and take her in the front and they would watch like ESPN. Or he would take her and they would play with Brian, the dog we have. But he never put his hands on her. He never disciplined her like that. It was more, he's like one of these modern age parents that just want to talk to the baby.
So have you ever disciplined?
I've never had to. Like I said, I always look to Morris because I never wanted anything. I never wanted anything that could be said that I've taken out of context. Like if I popped her and it left a mark, I didn't want them to say, you beating on the baby. So I never wanted no kind of reason for my name to be in no mess here because it was so easy for it to get in there.
So how did Jeriah sustain that injury?
I don't know.
What ideas do you have? Because basically what I'm gathering from you, you're saying that Morris wouldn't have done it.
I mean, it wouldn't have.
So who else is left in the house?
I'm left in the house, but I know I didn't touch the baby. That's what I'm telling you. I didn't put her to bed. Morris put her to bed. We didn't. Neither one of us got up. But I don't care if we would have got up. I don't care if we would have slept in different rooms. Wouldn't have been no reason to hit that baby, to hit that baby. You know how much anger it takes to have to hurt a baby like that?
Speaking of that, what is your relationship with Jeriah? I noticed that you, let me get this right and help me if I'm wrong. You said in your initial statement that y'all were best friends before y'all even met Morris.
No.
Did I get that wrong?
Yes. I didn't know her until I moved here last summer. I was we got married on the 23rd. Jeriah was born on the 26th. I didn't know about Jeriah until I was 3 months pregnant in October.
How did you feel about that?
Oh, I was hurt. I mean, my husband just had a one night stand with a girl, and she got pregnant and moved me to a new city. Everybody knew but me, but I never took it out on T'Kia. That's why we were good. We weren't best friends, but we were good enough friends because I knew it wasn't her fault. It was Morris's fault because Morris did it.
So you only know her through Morris.
Mm-hmm.
You never known her before.
No, I didn't know nobody from here.
So you never said that y'all were friends?
No, we were. No, I never said we were friends. I never knew her before.
But y'all was like sisters or something?
No, I feel like sister wives because of how good we were with Jeriah, but not sister wives to the term where we share boys, but like sister wives to the point where she could call me and be like, "Hey girl, what you doing?" And I'd be like, "Nothing at home. What my baby doing?" You know, it was like that kind of relationship. The only thing that kind of caused some turmoil on it was when I kind of like put my foot down.
Why you put your foot down?
Because it was one night, like last year, thinking I had been at work all day and she asked me to keep Jeriah with that night, and I didn't mind because she made it sound like she had to go to work. And then I found out she went out, so I was like, hey, you know, I'm considerate of you. Let's be considerate of me. If you got somewhere to go, I said I don't mind keeping Jeriah, but just like keep in mind that I'm pregnant and I'm working too. You know, she kind of didn't like that, but we were still cool. I mean, we were still fine. Like we were still fine. It was just people get in people's head, and it may just go from there.
But you're telling me today that you had come to terms with your husband having a child outside and married you, and the child was born 2 days before or after y'all.
3 days after we got married. If you had asked me that 6, 7, 8 months ago, no, I had come. We had to go through therapy. I had to go through therapy. It took a lot of praying. It took a lot of soul searching. But at the end of the day, I had understood it. If that baby she did not ask to be here. She didn't put herself in that position. And I knew I had come to terms with it because a handful of people in Harrisburg knew about Jeriah. And that's why a lot of people here was upset with me because they said I had Jeriah hidden, which I did because I was trying to accept this fact that this child, you know, it just basically came out of nowhere. But I knew I had come to terms with it on Father's Day when I called T'Kia, and I said, hey, can you bring Jeriah over? I got her and Aubrey some matching outfits, and I want them to take a picture with their daddy. So I can basically let the world know. And that's what I did. I think it was the cutest little picture, Jeriah, Aubrey, and Morris, and I put it on Facebook. I told them, Happy Father's Day from your girls, and I wish you many more Father's Day to come.
Okay, so you put that behind you.
Yes.
And basically you were dating Morris when this happened, when the child was conceived.
Yeah, we just dating.
And you basically put that behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And that the child wasn't going to be the thing that reminds you of that incident
Well, that's what I'm
for
saying.
the rest of her life, and that didn't bother you.
No, that's what I'm saying. She did at first. That's why I had to go to therapy, and I had to do a lot of praying and a lot of talking to God. But it gets to a point where you realize stuff happens. Stuff couldn't happen no more. You know, we married now, but he was still growing. Other than that, I couldn't find a single flaw in him. So I chose to stay. Why would I put myself through that for a whole year? And then, why am I finna sit up here and tell y'all that we the only two people with this baby? If I knew, I'd sit up here and slammed her head into something. No! No, I know.
So we're here to find out what actually happened. Tell us what happened.
I mean, I told you. I told you about 4 times now.
Okay, so that's all you can provide us?
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Man, that's it. Y'all sure that's what he said?
Want to read the short report? That's a provisionary report that we have so far. And Investigator Jefferson was there at the autopsy, and he witnessed it.
And there's no way it could have happened before that night. It's not us to know what they say.
Yeah.
Do you want to take my there?
Yes, in a heartbeat. Whenever you got it ready, just let me know. Just let me know. As long as it's 100% reliable. Just let me know.
The best lie detector is just basically we want to just let you just tell us what happened. I'm not accusing you. If it was something where
No. Ain't no if something happened. No. Morris didn't hurt that baby. I didn't hurt that baby. No. I'm telling y'all, ain't no, well, we did this or he did. No. I'm telling you. You put that baby in that bed. Wasn't no hitting nothing. The ride home was smooth, but like I said, there's a tire. It was untrustworthy. I might can't remember some stuff, but I know we didn't do nothing to that baby. Now, I'm not gonna let this get me because, like you said, it's just a provisionary report. If the last report come out and say that this is what's wrong, then we got a problem.
well, I can assure you we have a problem. And what we need to do is get to the bottom of it. And I can assure you from my past experience, this is not my first rodeo. And I can assure you that we will get to the bottom of it. And basically, for starters, that's what we have right now. Is that the manner of death is homicide. And the cause of death is blunt trauma to the child's head. A 14-month-old child. And the child couldn't have walked around at all with the injuries that she sustained. There was no way she can walk around and act normal at all. That's the reason we were asking you the questions.
I'm saying that, and that's why I was being and I got a sense of that when you kept asking me that she hit it, but I'm telling you, no, she didn't hit it.
Is it something you're forgetting?
No.
How do you know you forgot that sunroom?
I forgot that, but that's a minor. We just went there and talked. This is so much different.
Has she ever been injuring y'all here in the past?
Yeah.
Explain that to us.
She was, this was one day after her birthday. I just went and picked her up from her mama. We were going to take her out to eat in Vicksburg. She had been walking for maybe about a month now. She was pretty good. And I got her out of the car, stood her on the ground. I got Aubrey out. She was about 3 months at the time, 4 months. I got her out. And we walked to the house. All right, if you look at our driveway, it goes from smooth concrete to rocky concrete. And she got kind of caught up when she switched from smooth to rocky. and I believe her sandals, they caught up on the rocks in the concrete, and she fell and she hit her head. I called Morris. I said, Morris, who's at football practice? I said, come on home now. We need to take her out to the hospital. I told him, put her in her car seat, hold her, and you talk to her the whole way there, and keep her awake. And he kept talking to her. She was awake, she was alert, she tried to talk, she did try to fall asleep one time, but I told her, I said, let the window down, and they were going in the face, it was keeping her up. We got to the hospital, the doctors look at it, doctors say, yeah, overreact. This happens. She's fine, she's okay. They put some Neosporin on it, sent us on our way. That's the only time she's been injured in our care. That's it.
Anything about a black guy?
That was around the same time.
You just said that was the only time.
Nah.
Now what about the black guy?
That was around. She was in the living room, and it wasn't even a black eye. It was this part right here. We have bricks around our TV, and she was holding on to the bricks. This is when she was very first started, and she toppled, and she hit that little corner right there. But didn't cry.
Who was Maury in there?
He was in the house. I want to say, I don't even know if. I'm trying to think of who, but I know he told her about it, so I'm trying to think what he. I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Did she go to the doctor?
It was just a little bump. It wasn't even that big. No. I took her to the doctor when I noticed a hematoma come up on her forehead. When I saw that immediately, I took that baby.
So you and Moore was there when she got the black eye. She got a hit on, all three in the house. Mm-hmm. And he told who about it?
Jeriah.
Told Mom about it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you had to say at the time?
No, sir.
Everything you told me, true, correct, and factual to the best of your ability.
Yes, sir.
Time now 3:50 p.m. November 1st, 2017, Clay County Sheriff Department. And once again, I have to state your name again. That's what Anna's going to do this time.
Claiborne County Circuit Court judge has granted a dismissal in a capital murder trial for a man accused of killing his infant daughter. Last month, the state requested the charge be dropped against Morris Bevily, saying the prosecution did not have enough evidence to prosecute. Bevily was accused of killing his 14-month-old daughter, Jeriah Smith, in Claiborne County. She died in 2017 from a blow to the head. Today's dismissal comes after the child's stepmother, T'Kia Bevily, was found not guilty in her death. Back in 2021, though, T'Kia Bevily was found guilty of capital murder and sentenced to life without parole. But Bevily was granted a new trial because a member of the jury was related to Smith. She was found not guilty last month.
Date is October 22nd, 2017. Time is 7:43 a.m. at the Claiborne County Sheriff Department. Present this time, state your name.
Morris Bevily 4.
What's give me your age?
25.
I'm asking about the incident involving Jeriah Smith. That's I pronounced the name right. 14 months old. That's your daughter, correct?
Yes.
Her mother is Jeriah, is that how you pronounce it?
Jeriah Smith.
Jeriah Smith. Okay. In your own words, tell me what happened.
Woke up early this morning around a little after 5. Woke up thirsty. Asked my wife could she grab me something to drink from the front. She got up to go and get something out of the kitchen, and came right back. Just a couple seconds later, crying. Told me to come here, and I went into my daughter's nursery. I went to the crib, but she wasn't breathing.
About how long was your wife gone from the bed to when she came and got you?
It wasn't full in.
Okay. Did you ever hear the baby making any kind of noise last night? Because she was saying that the baby was making some noises, and she had told you about it, and she thought that she had been just.
You talking about before we went to bed?
Yeah, when you were using the bathroom.
Yeah, before we went to sleep. Just probably
Like talking in her sleep or something?
Yeah.
She ever had any health problems at night, you know?
Nah, nothing major, nothing serious. She has eczema for her skin, but
she said the baby was a result of a one-night stand with
yes.
Jeriah, and you all had blood test, right?
Yes. We took it, the three of us went together to get a blood test, and after the blood test came back, I got Jeriah that same day, and been in a life ever since.
You ever had any problem with Jeriah? Anything like that between those two? They just don't like each other. Everything normal.
I mean, it hasn't always been his best, but we always work to try to resolve any situation. But nothing violent or anything like that. Just we've all had words.
There's a little small argument or something.
We've always found a way to sit down and figure it out.
And y'all put her to bed about 10 last night.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you add to your statement this time? Everything you told me true, correct, and factual to the best of your ability.
Yes, sir.
Time now is 7:47 a.m. October 22nd, 2017. The Clayton County Sheriff Department. Once again, I'll interview your station name again.
Morris Bevily the 4th.
Let's go end this interview at this time. Today's date is...
So like, am I?
No, you're not under arrest. You can leave at any time you get ready. That's just, like I said, we're going for them. That's basically nothing.
Yeah, that's fine.
You don't want to read along with it?
What, that?
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay,
I'm fine. Okay.
Today's date is November 1st, 2017. The time is 12:41 p.m. at the Clayton County Sheriff Department. Present this time is state your name.
Morris Bevily the 4th.
Spell Bevily.
Bevily.
Give me your home address.
7032 Highway 61 South, Bliss, Mississippi 39150.
How much education you have?
I obtained a specialist degree.
Give me your social.
426-73-1005.
Date of birth.
12/16/1991.
Current phone number.
601-831-5320.
All right, before we get a statement from you, I'm gonna read your rights, okay? Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You got a right to remain silent and none of our refuse to answer any questions. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any question and have it with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, it won't be appointed to you for any question if you wish. You should not answer questions now without a lawyer present. You still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering any time until you talk to the lawyer. You understand all that?
Sir.
The waiver is I have ready to state my rights, understand my rights are, I'm willing to make a statement, answer questions. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I understand, know what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, no pressure, coercion, or force of any kind used against me. Do you understand all that?
Yes, sir.
I need you to come forward and sign this form for me. Come up here to the desk. just sign it, that you understand that paragraph and that paragraph. Just read it to you, that's just your information. I just ask your name and all that stuff. You wouldn't answer any question that we have and give a statement concerning Jeriah Smith, your daughter.
Yes, sir.
Start off from Friday night into Saturday when you first, how you obtained Jeriah, what time it was, and in your own words up until you got home and you got discovered her not breathing that Sunday morning.
Okay. Friday evening, my cousin Danielle Skinner had called and let me know that she was keeping my child for the night. She said that she had got her from my baby's mother earlier that day, and was just calling just to let me know that she had her that Friday. So,
Give me your baby mama name.
Jeriah Smith. So I had a game that Friday night, and it wasn't my weekend to have her anyway, so I didn't bother too much. That Saturday morning, I woke up, I had a community service in Jefferson County. While at the community service, I got a phone call from my father saying that my mom was basically
What were the dates? What were the dates?
Dates.
You said Saturday morning. What day?
Saturday morning would have been the 21st.
Okay. Cool.
So Saturday, October 21st, woke up that morning, had a community service event in Jefferson County. While we were at the nursing home for our community service event, I got a phone call from my father saying that my mom was basically in critical condition. The doctor said she didn't have much longer, so they wanted all of the family to come up. So during this time of me leaving from Fayette to Port Gibson, got a phone call from my auntie Antoinette that my child was with her here in Port Gibson, and they didn't have any car seat or bag or anything like that. So I said, well, I'll just get her, just bring her to me. I have a car seat in her bag. She can come with me and my wife and my other child to Vicksburg. So around noon, the four of us traveled up to Vicksburg to the hospital, Mary Health on 61.
Who was with you?
My wife, T'Kia Bevily, Aubrey Bevily, and Jeriah Smith. Aubrey's my 6-month-old. So the four of us, we drove up to Vicksburg. We went to the hospital. A lot of my family were in and out that day, so we stayed at the hospital. We never left the hospital. We stayed there up until about 8, 9 o'clock because my father had to run home to take a shower and grab some clothes because he had planned on staying the night. So after the four of us left, myself, my wife, and my 2 children, we stopped at a wing place, Next Level Wings on 61 South. This was a little after 9 o'clock, I believe, and because I had a place in order to go. So I just went inside, I got my order, came back out. We ventured on down to Port Gibson. My wife had placed an order at the Pizza Hut in Port Gibson. I picked up her wings from out of there, made it home. By the time we were home, I can remember Jeriah was asleep. So as we go in the house, I took Jeriah in, took her to my room for a second just to change the diaper before putting her in her crib. So I gave her kisses and gave her love, put her in the crib, and she gave me one more. And later down, I gave her her doll like I always do, and a teddy bear behind her like always. And she laid down, went on back to sleep. Me and my wife went in the room, went to sleep. Somewhere around 5, a little after 5 that morning, we woke up. I asked my wife to could she give me something to drink out of the kitchen. So she got up about 15, 20 seconds, wasn't even long. Just moments later, she ran back to the room crying, saying, Jeriah, Jeriah. She's not breathing. Get up, go into her bedroom, which is right beside mine, look in the crib, she's not moving, she's not breathing. I immediately called 911 to let them know. After calling 911, I immediately called her mother, Jeriah Smith. I I didn't let her know what had happened. I just told her to get to the house. I said, something's wrong. Just get to the house as soon as you can. You know, she came over to the house, and at that point waited for the police and everyone else that came over dealing with that.
So when you tucked in the bed, how her body felt? Was she cold or was she normal?
When I took her in the bed,
Yeah.
oh, she felt normal. Normal enough for me not to. It's not something that I would think to check before she got in bed, or how, was she cold or warm. We were in a warm car coming home, so I imagine she was warm.
Did you do anything prior to when you placed in the bed before you went to sleep?
I'm sorry, nothing.
You
Nothing
placed in
did.
the bed and went straight to sleep.
Yes, sir.
I'm an investigator Denson with the state of Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to ask a couple of questions. All right, Mr. Bevily, you said that y'all,
Well, I ate before I went to sleep.
okay, y'all come from the hospital
Yes,
in
sir.
Vicksburg, Mississippi, Marriott Hill,
Yes, sir.
and y'all were in what type of car?
Dodge Charger.
A Dodge Charger?
Yes, sir.
And who was driving?
I was driving.
And where was the kids?
They were in the back seat in the car seats.
They were both in car seats?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did anything happen in the cars on your way from the hospital?
No, sir.
Okay. Who was on the front?
My wife.
Okay. So name everybody that was in the car.
Morris Bevily the fourth, which is myself, T'Kia Bevily, my wife, Aubrey Bevily, my 6-month-old, and Jeriah Smith, my 15-month-old.
And y'all were riding in what kind of car?
The Dodge Charger.
What year?
2011, I believe.
2011.
Yes, sir.
And that is a 4-door, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And y'all left the hospital, Marriott Health in Vicksburg, Mississippi, headed 61 South.
Yes, sir.
And you stopped at Next Level.
Next Level Wings. I believe that's the name of it. Yes, sir.
Okay. What was going on in the car from the hospital to Next Level?
Nothing. I knew they was sleepy, so I played a little lullaby through Bluetooth on my phone.
Okay. And so both kids were sleeping?
Yes, sir.
No crying, no nothing?
No, sir. No crying.
Okay, so when you walked out of the hospital, did you notice anything about Jeriah?
No, sir. Just covered them up and walked to the car.
Was she asleep then?
She had just woken up because they were asleep prior to us leaving the hospital. So she had just woken up. Just woke up from the time I got her back in the car from the hospital.
Okay, who was in the hospital room when you guys left?
Just my father and my mother when we left. Like I said, everybody had left a little earlier, and I just waited until my dad got back up there with my mom.
Okay, so what were the kids doing? I
They
know
were sleeping on the little sofa right there on the bed.
both of them were asleep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what time was it when you got ready to leave? When your dad got back?
It was around 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Somewhere in that area.
So we're on October the 21st at 9 p.m. at night. You're leaving
Approximately 9 p.m.
Approximately. And you're leaving Vicksburg, the Marriott Health in Vicksburg, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
You get into your car, you strap the kids in the back seat,
Yes, sir.
and you head south on 61.
Yes, sir.
Before leaving the city limits, you stop at Next Level.
Yes, sir.
Who gets out of the car?
I get out of the car.
Did you leave the car running?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who was all in the car?
My wife and my 2 children.
Okay. What was going on? Was the kid asleep or woke, or what was going on?
To my knowledge, while I was in the store, they was asleep. My wings weren't ready, so I had to wait a little bit inside.
About how long do you think you waited at Wing Place?
Probably about 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you got your food, went back and got in the car.
Yes, sir.
Anything different? Did you notice anything different in the car?
No, sir.
Did your wife inform you of anything?
No, sir.
What was she doing?
She was just sitting in the front seat, probably on the phone,
Probably on the phone, talking or just
probably
looking?
just texting. Can't truly recall, but she was 9 times out of 10 was probably on the phone.
Okay. All right, and then you proceeded south on 61.
Mm-hmm.
Did the kids wake up at any point in time?
Not to my knowledge. Not that I can remember. If they did wake up they didn't make any noise.
Did you have to make any sudden stops or anything?
No, sir. Only stop I made at that point was at Pizza Hut.
I'm saying, did you have to make any sudden stops to keep from avoiding hitting anything
No,
that would
no,
cause
sir.
any injuries or anything?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. So then when you got to the city limits of Port Gibson,
Mm-hmm.
and what was your next stop?
Pizza Hut. right on top of here.
Okay. What was going on with the kids at that point?
I believe they were still asleep at that point.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you stopped at Pizza Hut on 61.
Yes, sir.
And about what time is it now?
Probably around 9:45, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Somewhere in that area.
Okay. And goes into Pizza Hut in Port Gibson.
Yes, sir.
And did you get out or did your wife get out?
I got out.
Okay. And what was going on at that point in the car? Kids still asleep?
Probably so, yes, sir.
You don't know?
No, they were probably asleep. Like I say, I didn't hear them making any noises.
Mm-hmm.
They were quiet, just thinking that they're asleep.
Okay. And what was your wife doing?
I'm just sitting waiting on food.
Okay. And you got out and went inside.
Yes, sir.
How long were you taking that?
Oh, they were, wings were ready. I just went in, paid for them, came on out.
Okay. And basically you got back in the car, nothing different.
Nothing different.
Okay. And then where did you go?
I went home to 7032, Highway 61 South.
7032 Highway 61 South.
Yes, sir.
When you got home, what happened?
Packed up the things out the car, baby bags. My wife grabbed Aubrey, I grabbed Jeriah. She weighs a little more, so I usually grab her whenever they're together. And at that point, went in the house, took the kids to our bedroom, took the kids to our bedroom. I changed Jeriah, she had a wet diaper, and took her to bed.
How was Jeriah when you changed her?
She was fine. She looked around a little. She was still tired, I could tell, but she didn't whine or cry or anything. Just changed the diaper. And like I said, her room is probably about 10 feet from mine at most. Took her to the room, gave her hugs and kisses like I always do. Told her I love her. Laid her down. She's a big girl, so if I say go ahead and lay down, baby, she'll just go ahead and lay down. It's nighttime.
Okay. Okay. And how did you place her in the bed?
I placed her on the side, her back to the wall. She was facing outward towards the rest of the room.
So you left or right side you placed her on?
That would be her left side.
Okay, you placed her on the left side.
That's her left side. And her doll in her arms.
Was she whining or anything? And crying? And
She usually does it.
she just, when you put the dry diaper on her, she
When you
was
put
ready
her
to
down
go?
and say, baby, go ahead and lay down, she goes, big girl.
Did she have to have anything, juicy bottle or anything?
Now she had a cup throughout the day, but no, we don't usually leave a bottle or anything with her. She just her bear and her little doll.
Okay, so what was in the bed when you placed her in the bed?
Just her bear and her doll and her blankets. Or her blanket sheet.
Okay. All right, and about what time you think it is then?
It's probably around a little bit after 10, probably. Wasn't too late. Somewhere after 10 o'clock.
Okay. So when you placed her in the bed, what did you do then?
Went back in my room. I'm trying to think if I took a shower. Probably took a shower. Yep, I did take a shower.
When did you eat?
Ate the wings.
When did you eat?
I ate the wings after I took a shower.
Okay, so you went back to your room, you took a shower, and where is what's your wife's name?
T'Kia.
Who?
T'Kia.
T'Kia. Where is T'Kia?
T'Kia's with the baby.
The 6-month-old.
6-month-old.
Okay, and where does that 6-month-old sleep?
She sleeps in her bassinet in the room with us.
In the master bedroom.
Yes, sir.
And Jeriah has her own room, and she's in a crib.
Yes, sir.
Describe that crib.
It's a white crib. It's a sturdy crib. It's one of those ones that'll eventually convert to a twin-size bed. A day bed. It's just a regular baby crib. Actually, we have two cribs in there.
Okay.
But the baby's just too small to get her crib right now.
So there's 2 cribs in this one room?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they're both the same?
They're pretty much identical.
Oh.
Only the baby's crib, the mattress is up high right now because she's young.
Oh.
Jeriah's crib, the mattress at the bottom, so she can't ever, climb out or something.
Okay, and what is the framing? Is it metal?
Wood frame.
Oh, it's a wood frame?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, and you basically had her in the bed and you turned the light out. Is there a night light inside there? Inside the room?
No, so it's not a night light in the room. It's a night light in the hallway. So if we walk through, the light will shine to her.
Shine in the room. Okay. Did you have any monitors or anything in that room?
No, sir.
No
No,
baby
sir.
monitors?
Not anymore. No, sir.
Okay.
We used to use the iPad for it, but since she's gotten older now, we don't use it anymore.
And if she basically started crying, you within earshot?
My door was open, her door was open, and they're kind of like from where I'm sitting to that door there.
Okay, describe that distance.
Like I say, it's
estimated.
No more than 10 feet.
10.
Yeah, no more than 10 feet.
Okay, so
probably less than 10 feet.
So your master bedroom to the room where Jeriah was asleep was about 10 feet?
Yes, sir.
So if she started crying, you can hear it?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you placed her in the bed, you went back in your room, and you took a shower.
Yes, sir.
Where was your wife at?
Took a shower in the hall bathroom.
In the hall bathroom?
Yes,
In proximity of Jeriah's room where she was, where is that?
Next door.
Now, with the shower going, you can't hear anything, or can you?
If the shower's going, no, sir.
You cannot.
Probably if the door's closed and the shower's going, and she'd have to be screaming for you to just hear.
Okay. So where is your wife now when
I'm showering?
Yeah.
With the baby.
And where are they?
In the master bedroom.
And what is going on with them?
Just waiting for me to get out. So, because I believe the baby was still up. I believe the 6-month-old was still up. So, if I'm showering, she'll have the baby, and then when I get out, I don't get her until she comes back in.
Okay. So the baby had woke up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Probably so.
You can't recall?
Can't honestly recall, but if we didn't shower together, she probably was awake and she was watching.
So y'all normally shower together?
Every now and then.
Every now and then? Okay. And basically after that, then when she got out of the shower, what was your wife doing?
Waiting on me to come back in the room so she could shower.
Okay. And where was the 6-month-old?
With me at this point.
Okay. So she was holding the 6-month-old?
I can't recall. She was holding it now. She was in the room with me.
She was in the room? And when you got in the room, basically she got up to go?
Yes, sir.
Did she say anything about Jeriah or woke up or anything?
She did say she heard a cough a little bit. That's normal, but other than that, nothing.
She said that she heard
She
Jeriah.
heard coughing some.
And what did that? But did Jeriah have a cold?
Mm-mm. She actually didn't. She was actually fine.
So was that was suspicious, or did
No.
you suspect anything?
No, sir.
If she coughs you, that's what your wife would tell you every time?
Mm-hmm. But I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't a constant cough. I didn't hear. Like I said, our rooms right there beside each other, so it wasn't hacking or anything like this. It's probably.
Now this is when you got out of the shower, right?
Yes, sir.
And she said that she heard a cough.
Mm-hmm.
What else did she do? Did she go in and see if everything was okay?
Yeah, she has to come through. That's how she heard her coming through from the hall bathroom, baby room, our room.
No, where was she coming from?
The hall bathroom, the shower.
Okay, but you were in the shower.
No, this is afterwards.
So after you got in the room.
I'm in the room now with the child.
Okay.
My wife is in the shower.
Okay.
My wife has to pass through Jeriah's room to come back to the room with the baby.
Okay.
So as you're coming through, she can hear coughing something.
Okay. So she was exiting the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But when you got out of the shower, when you went in the room, your wife was already in the room with the 6-month-old, Aubrey.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, she had been with Aubrey the entire time, or did she get up and...
To my knowledge, I'm in the shower.
Okay, so did she have food? Y'all eat together?
Ate together when we got back in the room.
Okay, so basically she took a shower.
I took a shower, she took a shower, we ate together.
And what was Aubrey?
She was either asleep or with us one.
Had you heard any noises from Jeriah?
No, sir.
So Jeriah is sound asleep by now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you pretty much both you guys got out and you ate your wings.
Yes, sir.
About what time is it now?
It's probably about 11 o'clock now.
Okay. And then what happens?
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Okay, and then you wake up?
Wake up a little after 5. Talk a little bit. I convinced her to go and give me something to drink. I just didn't feel like getting up. And
did she resist or did she go ahead and get it?
no, she actually, like I said, we had woke up, just a little pillow talk for a couple minutes, and I just asked her, hey, can you give me something to drink?
Mm-hmm.
That's when she went and got me something to drink. Well, she didn't actually make it past there.
Mm-hmm.
That's when she came back to the room and let me know something wrong with Jeriah.
How did you know that?
Because I mean, just looking. You have to look down in there as you walk by. You're not just gonna walk by your child bed and not look at her.
So what made her think something was wrong?
She said she was turned over, and that's when I ran over. And she wasn't breathing. She wasn't moving.
How was she when you ran over? What's her position?
At this point now, she's on her back.
She's on her back.
Now
you said that's when your wife saw her.
No, when my wife saw her from what she described. She was on her stomach with her head in the top corner of the crib.
Her head in the top corner?
The top corner on her stomach. I'm guessing my wife just pulling her back or trying, getting her out of the corner, realized that she wasn't breathing. And that's, I guess, when she came and got me.
Okay. How long did that take before she got back?
Just moments.
So she had enough time to go in there and turn her over and run back?
It doesn't take 30 seconds to do that.
Okay, 30 seconds about?
I said it doesn't take that long.
Okay.
I wouldn't, like I say, you're not thinking about this as you send your wife to go get you some water, so you're not really counting the moments or anything like that. I just know my wife came in very distraught, saying something's wrong with Aubrey. Not Aubrey, Jeriah, she's not breathing.
Where's Aubrey at this time?
Aubrey's still in the bed asleep.
She's in the bed with you guys, or
she's either in the bed or the bassinet.
She's in the bed or the bassinet. You can't recall.
Can't recall. It was one of the two.
Okay. And basically, when you got up, she was laying on her back.
At this point, when she, I guess, T'Kia, when she pulled over, that's when she realized. And that's how I got her.
Okay.
And that's when I called 911, and then I called them off.
So she never went in the kitchen?
No.
Kia? Okay. All right, well, we have some other things that we want to ask you about.
Sure.
And let me see. James, you have the, what we do basically, no, we're going to go with the corner. With the corner? Yeah. Inform them about what that report entails, James.
The court's not to get nothing anyway, just the corner.
Just the corner first. The corner, are you familiar with the corner that came to your home that day?
Yes, sir. Okay. Not familiar with the report, we just hired a new cop to come.
Okay.
Well, then,
No, just inform, summarize it, give them a summation of what the results are. As to what he.
basically said a 14-month-old child was found in her bed by her father not breathing. Father called 911. Clayton County Sheriff Department called. Clayton County Coroner called. Coroner ordered the autopsy.
Okay.
That's basically what he said.
That's normal. That's normal. We have to do that in any situation. So when the coroner ordered an autopsy is conducted where a state medical examiner goes in and they do this on a daily basis. This is all they do. I don't know how they do it, but they do that on a daily basis, and they're well experienced in this. They're very experienced in this. So, James, inform them as to what the results of the autopsy were.
Cause of death is head trauma. Manner of death is homicide.
How?
Head trauma.
That's impossible. For cause to win.
What do you mean by winning?
Like, when are they saying that the head trauma occurred?
That's what he found at the autopsy.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that's very vague. When are you saying that it occurred?
We are still working on the exact time frame.
Because it could not have occurred while she was with me that Saturday.
Did you notice anything that would have been indicative of that?
No.
Your child suffering any kind of head trauma?
She was with me from the time I picked up from my aunt around noon to when I found her that morning. The only walking she did with me was at the hospital.
Now the autopsy report saying there's multiple blunt trauma to her head, and it's not from a fall, and it's not one of those ones that can come from a fall. It's basically one of those ones that caused from an intentional deal or something similar to that. And what we want to do, I'm not accusing you of anything, and I'm not trying to accuse you of anything. What I'm trying to do is find out what could simulate that. What could be something that's the reason I asked you those questions as to what happened. Was there a sudden stop? You remember I asked you that question? Was there a sudden stop?
Wasn't in it.
Okay, she didn't fall.
That's what I'm asking now. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's very, in my opinion, very vague. To the point where, like I said, I hadn't had her any that week up until when I got her that Saturday. She was at the hospital the entire day.
Let me narrow it down a bit for you. He says that this is not something that she could have sustained and up playing, eating or nothing. When it happened pretty quick. Not nothing that would have lingered for a week or so.
So basically, it's narrowed down to
Hours.
within hours.
That's impossible. That's impossible. That's impossible.
Yeah,
My
that's-
child had no bruising, no anything, no nothing.
okay.
That's impossible. I'm not saying that the medical examiner doesn't know what he or she is doing, but somebody needs to take a second look. That's impossible. That's impossible. We were in a hospital an entire day. This child did not cry an entire day in the hospital.
Did you see any swelling about her head?
No. Even when the coroner came, they have pictures. She did not have any swelling, any bruising from anything. That's impossible.
Do you think she could have bumped her head or anything or something? Do you think somebody could have dropped her without you knowing? Not somebody. I can be honest with you. I'm gonna shoot straight forward with you. Do you think your wife could have possibly dropped her and didn't say anything?
My wife didn't have it to drop.
And so basically, your wife had no dealings with her at all.
None that day to where she could have dropped her.
And
When we got home that night, I took her to the bed, I changed her diaper, and I laid her down.
So when you laid her down, everything was
That was it.
okay. Everything was fine.
Everything was fine.
You didn't notice anything out of the ordinary.
I'm sorry.
When you got in the shower, do you think your wife could have went in the room?
And done what?
No, I'm just saying, do you think she could have went back in the room? You know, she said that she called when she got out of the shower.
No, I don't see a reason for her to go back in the room.
So do you know if she went back in there?
No, she wouldn't go back.
100%.
Yeah, I'm 100% she wouldn't have went back in the room. There was no reason she wouldn't leave Aubrey in there by herself
Okay.
to go back in the room.
And Aubrey cannot do anything. Aubrey can't walk. So basically, who else was inside the house at that time?
Nobody, just us.
So only 2 adults in the house at that time.
Could you see your wife when you was in the shower?
Could I see my wife?
Yeah.
No, sir.
So you came with her and say what she did while you was in the shower?
I can't.
Could you see her?
No, sir.
So how you know what she was doing?
If my wife would have,
No, not you. If I said could you see
No,
factually?
sir.
Could you see her?
no, sir.
So you can't factually say you know exactly what she was doing while you was in the shower. Can you?
No, sir.
Okay, that's my question.
Basically, like I said, we're not trying to don't get on the defense on this.
I'm not.
Basically,
I'm not getting on the defense. Based on that report there, for me to be in the home with my child the entire night, and my child did not cry an entire night, and for a report to say that she that you say blunt force trauma to the head, in multiple places, for her to never cry, that doesn't add up. For her to not have a bruise or any swelling, that does not add up. Blunt force trauma would cause some type of bruising or some type of swelling. They took pictures that morning as soon as they got there, and my child had no discoloration on her at all. That does not add up. That doesn't make sense. That's not factual. That report can't be factual.
Tell me this: just think back. What could have been something that would have caused that for them to see some trauma in their head? Just think back.
She's a toddler. She may have fallen somewhere.
That you don't know
that I don't know about.
Okay.
But she had not fallen while she was with me.
So you have no knowledge of her fault?
No.
Okay. Tell me something. Let's go back to July the 22nd. James, go ahead. Just show the pictures.
Are you familiar with ever having injuries in the past?
Yes.
Familiar with a black eye?
Not a black eye.
Not familiar with a black eye.
Not with me.
You had a black eye?
She's never had a black eye with me.
I got pictures of her with a black eye.
She's
Well,
never.
basically,
hold on. She's never been with me and gotten a black eye. The only thing that happened with my child while she was with me, she fell on the concrete, bumped her nose and her head.
Okay.
And we immediately took her to the ER once that happened. Now, I just don't see how you can bump your nose here, your head here, and have a black eye.
Okay.
The reason my child's eye looked this color was because when she was with her mother and them, my child has eczema, and they were not giving her eczema cream. So this would all look black. I have pictures of that from when I took her up there in my phone.
Okay.
So let's get that clear.
Okay, that's clear. I understand that. Now, basically, have there ever been any allegations that was filed with the Department of Human Services that they had to come out and
Yes, sir.
let's talk about that.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
I got a phone call from Department of Human Services saying that someone anonymously placed a call saying that we were abusing Jeriah.
Now, tell me this. When was that?
I don't know. Y'all should have it.
Was it last year? This year?
It was this year.
It was this year.
Excuse me. Yes,
Was
sir.
it before school, after school started, or was
School that started?
it school that started this
I
year?
believe so.
So would it have been this school year?
I believe so.
So that school started what month?
August.
August. So it would have been around that time?
It should be on file somewhere. I don't
I
know the exact
we'll
date.
go and look it up.
Yeah,
But
it was within the last 3 months or so
it was within the last 3 months from October,
from this present day.
from this present day. Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about it. I don't have it.
Okay. I'll tell you as much as I know. Someone anonymously called, didn't leave a name, so we had to have a meeting with I guess it was in Department of Human Services, whatever.
Yes, DHS.
Oh yeah, DHS. Myself, my wife, my other child's mother, Jeriah Smith, her aunt. We met. The mother said she didn't know who would have made that call. She said she know we would have never done anything like that, or she doesn't know the reason why someone would have made that call, and that was that.
Okay.
She
And-
denied. She said she didn't know why anybody would have made that call, and that was about that. We went on.
So the allegations were who
False.
was doing it? What was the allegations though? Who was doing it? Was it Jeriah or was it you and T'Kia? Who you saying? Kia?
Kia. Yeah, I mean that was they said that was me and Kia. Her mother has had calls on her, Jeriah Smith. People have made calls on her about different things, and I'm not sure the reasons why.
As it relate to
Jeriah,
well, tell me about that.
I don't know.
You didn't look into it?
No, not really.
Was it abuse or was it something else?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. That was a while. It was a couple times.
When was this?
This was just. I mean, this has been a couple times just throughout the past year.
You didn't look into it to see?
Yeah, we talked about it, but I mean, it didn't come to anything. It didn't.
It was nothing there that would support the allegations?
It didn't personally involve me, so I didn't have much say so in it.
But I'm saying your child though, right?
Yeah. No. I didn't truly know all about it. So I'm saying I just didn't get factual information about it.
Okay.
I mean, I had, disagreements with my child's mother on certain things, but as long as my child was taken care of,
Okay.
those type of, it was like mess, like people calling on each other type of deal, so I didn't just get flooded and get into that type of stuff.
But have you seen any signs of any type of abuse in the past?
Not abuse, neglect. Like I say, with her eczema would flare up real bad because she wouldn't get an eczema cream, or she kept a cold, stuff like that. But nothing as far as physical abuse.
No signs of physical abuse?
No signs of physical abuse, no sir.
Okay, even when the allegation came about, T'Kia's mother?
Never signs of physical abuse towards my child.
Okay. Has there ever been any signs of physical abuse that you had to go and take care of business, or basically?
Not physical abuse, no sir.
No signs at all?
No.
Any type of abuse?
I said neglect, rather, just making sure that she's taking her medicine for, she would keep a cold. She always had a cold for some reason. Just making sure she would keep them, taking her medicine, finishing her antibiotics, or making sure she had an eczema cream on every day, stuff like that.
Okay. You just
The
had
skin would break out real bad.
Okay, so you just have to have that daily?
Well, eczema cream?
Yes.
Yeah, she would need that almost daily.
Okay. But does she bruise easy with eczema?
You mean that she grew the
Like, would it be easy if she bumped
If
into her while
she,
she's walking? Like a toddler dude, I mean.
I wouldn't necessarily say the eczema will make her bruise easily. If she didn't use it, it will make her flare, make her skin flare a little bit.
Have you ever seen any bruises on her?
Bruises.
No bruises.
Not that I know of.
All right. James, do you have anything else?
I'm just gonna say this: that's your baby, Jeriah. Something happened. It is not an accident. I was at the autopsy. I saw what happened to her.
What happened to her?
I'm saying I saw the injuries.
Where?
I was just told you trauma
Where?
to the head.
Let me explain this to you. What we're trying to do, this is an infant. We're trying to find out exactly what happened. There's an explanation for everything, and I can't get anywhere, James can't get anywhere, you can't get anywhere as to finding out what happened. We have to get answers to the injuries that James witnessed during the autopsy. If I get mad and I start accusing you and saying you did it, or if I accuse anybody and say that they did it, I'm not gonna get anywhere. If James get mad and say that you did it and just doing that, we're not gonna get anywhere. If you get mad, you not thinking about everything and giving us everything that you can, then we're not gonna get to the bottom of this. We're here for Jeriah right now. And basically, we're trying to find out what actually happened. There's answers to everything. And that's the reason we're asking you these specific questions. Like I told you initially, this is not one of those where we're going to accuse you. We're not going to be hostile with you. And like I told you, at any point in time, you can get up and leave. But basically, what we're doing is trying to find out this for Jeriah's sake. Trying to find out exactly what happened. And what we want you to do is keep an open mind and just think about it and not try to self-preservate or try to get something. Just lay it all out. Let us sort through it. We're the professionals when it comes to this stuff.
You gotta get in touch with me.
No,
If you think
I guess.
anything.
No, that's it. I don't really have too much else to say about
Sometimes
it.
you can go home and stuff. You might say, "Wait a minute." You might think of something.
No, that's
Anything.
no, that's it. My thing is, all right, we are intelligent men. I just want to know, how can she have head trauma or blunt head trauma?
Something happened.
Mr. Bevily,
Something happened.
Well, I mean, you're in
We're
me
asking
now.
you.
I'm
Go
asking
ahead.
a question.
Go ahead.
I'm asking a question. I'm not a doctor. How can she have blunt head trauma with no bruises, no swelling? I don't know, and I'm asking.
now there is such thing as internal injuries. There are such things as internal injuries. You can Google it or look it up. I'm not a doctor. Like I say, I don't know how to explain that medically, but there are such things where there are internal injuries, and some people sustain injuries in car accidents, and there's no outer signs of abuse, or signs of trauma.
And I'm just saying, to say it happened hours before the coroner arrived, and I distinctly remember laying my child down, putting her to sleep, and we going to bed.
At what time?
Before 11 o'clock, I laid her down.
11 p.m. on October.
Or 11 o'clock p.m.
On October
the 21st.
That's a Saturday night.
That's a Saturday night.
Okay.
I distinctly laid her down and gave her a kiss and told her I love her like I always do. And passed through there and back. And my child, to get hit in the head or blunt force trauma, and she never cries.
Tell me this. I can't help but think about this, Mr. Bevily. Tell me this. Your child is 14 months old, and your wife, how long have y'all been married?
A little over a year.
A little over a year. So you were dating your wife before y'all got married? About how long?
Probably a year.
Okay. And has she come to grips with?
My wife comes to grips with it. When my wife was pregnant on maternity leave, my wife kept Jeriah for months up until she had our, when her mother wouldn't keep her or put her in daycare.
Okay.
My wife did that. So my wife loved that child like it was hers.
Okay.
My wife kept her and helped raise her while I was at work each and every day, and she was at home pregnant by herself.
Okay. So how did Deidre and your wife get along?
Like any baby mother and man's wife probably would. They had their disagreements, but for the most part, we made it work.
Okay.
For the most part, we made it work. And it wasn't even for the sake of Jeriah, we just made it work. We had disagreements here and there. Never any physical altercations or anything like that. We made it work. She would pick her up, drop her off. We would always do picking up and dropping off. Times we had disagreements, we would invite Deidre over to the house to talk them out.
How your wife feel about what happened to Jeriah?
Sick. And I hate it for her because I just know how strong I am, and I know she's not as strong as me.
Has there ever been any other disagreements as of recent?
We've actually been pretty good as of recent between me, my wife, and my baby mother.
Now's the time to lay it out. Now, if it's something, I would love to know about it. And if you care not to share it, just let me know that there was something that you care not to go into details about. Or
I've tried to be as thorough as possible.
Okay.
Everything that I've said, because I wanted to know, like, did my baby have a tumor or something, or thinking it had to be something like that. That's why hearing that and replaying it night over and over and over and over and over. That's why I said it just does not seem possible. It just does not seem. It just does not seem possible.
But tell me this: have you ever disciplined your daughter?
Yeah.
How?
Just,
On her hand?
yeah, just
Yeah.
talk to her.
Did your wife ever discipline her?
Same way, just talk to her.
And that was it?
That's it.
There's never been anything that was out of order?
No.
That you had to tell her to step it down a little bit?
No.
Has it ever been anything with the mother, Jeriah, where you told her to step it down a little bit?
The times her and my wife have kind of went at it with words. But other than that, I just ask them just to respect each other.
They went at it with words?
Yeah. Just texting. Sometimes that's how we communicate, because we all work and stuff. So we text. We have a group where we text and communicate about the baby.
Mm-hmm.
But other than, like I said, we adults. We don't always see eye to eye. But other than that, just respect each other. I told my wife the same.
Okay, what I'm saying is, have you ever had to tell Jeriah, as far as discipline, to step it down?
I never actually talked to her about how she disciplined Jeriah, honestly.
Okay. And so, how often does your wife keep your daughter?
Since Aubrey has been born, and since I've been playing, since I coach football, I don't have as much time in the evening as I used to. Like I said, when Kia was pregnant and on maternity leave, she would keep her basically all of the week. Since school has started back, I get home late. What we do is on Fridays, Kia would pick her up from her mother Friday morning, and she would stay with her grandparents. She would stay with my mom and dad on Friday because I have games on Fridays.
Okay.
And I pick her up Saturday mornings, and we would take her back Sunday afternoon.
Okay, so Kia basically didn't have her much by herself.
No.
Did Kia want to keep her by herself, or it was just by design that you didn't want her to be keeping her by herself, or how was that?
What?
Yeah.
You saying?
Did Kia, was it by design that she didn't keep her much by herself, or?
Oh no, we're a family.
Okay.
I want to be with my wife and my two girls on the weekends because that's my only time off.
Okay.
So no, it was by design that I wanted my whole family with me on weekends.
Okay. And Kia was on board with that? Had never had any problem with that? Okay. All right, James, you have anything else?
Anything else you add to this statement? Everything you told us true, correct, factual to the best of your ability.
That's my ability, yes sir.
The time now is 1:30 p.m. November 1st, 2017 at the Clayton County Sheriff's Department. And once again, out there in the information line coming in.
Morris Bevily.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and press the notification bell. Additionally, you can view our playlists and most recent videos. Thank you for watching.